Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, Tania, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Bill Dreffel, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Angela Reynolds, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, Patty Wolin, Ben and Noel Bruning, and Greg Gorley. B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, Daps Magic, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has the Mark Twain leaving the dock in Frontierland for a trip around the rivers of America. If you look closely in the background, you can see the TWA Moonliner in Tomorrowland and the Skyway flying over Fantasyland, as well as the top of King Arthur's Carousel. On the back it reads, Mark Twain, Nostalgic Ride Down Rivers of America on the Mark Twain in Frontierland. It's postmarked May 23, 1957, with an Anaheim cancel and a 2-cent red Jefferson postage stamp, Scott number 1033. I assume they visited the park on Wednesday, May 22, 1957, when park hours were from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The weather was a high of 72 and a low of 52, with a trace of precipitation. Park attendance that day was 6,276. It's addressed to Mrs. E. J. Cumley Sr. of Morrisville, Pennsylvania. It reads, Hi, delightful trip. We've had a wonderful evening. Everything is so pretty. Just had a ride on merry-go-round and Skyway. It's all lighted now and looks like fairyland. We got here around 5:45 and it's 9:20 now. I've always wanted to go on a stern-wheeler. More later. Love, Jane. One Disneyland shop that has been closed for over 50 years is still part of the atmosphere in Frontierland today. On July 30th, 1956, Mineral Hall opened next to the Rainbow Caverns mine train. Looking at an old photo from Daveland Web, there was a sign outside of the building that read, Mineral Hall, free exhibit, Rainbow Hall of Enchantment, exciting fluorescent rock display, world's largest geode. Like many of the shops in Disneyland in the early years, Disneyland did not run the shop. Instead, it was run by the Black Light Corporation of America. Ultraviolet, or black lights, were still a novelty in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The lighting effect was used on many Disneyland attractions, including the one next door to the Mineral Hall in the Rainbow Caverns. This shop, next to the exit of the attraction, would have allowed guests to purchase the effect for their own home. Entering the store, there was a U-shaped room with paints, dyes, and rocks that would glow under the black lights. The regular store lights would occasionally dim to enhance a special feature. Mineral Hall was one of the first stores in the U.S. to sell black lights along with black light responsive items. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to EnfieldPost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and EnfieldPost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has the Mark Twain with the Disneyland band playing on the bottom deck. You can see guests looking over the rail in the middle and the top deck, as well as some guests watching from the old Tom Sawyer Island raft dock near the Golden Horseshoe. On the back it reads, Down the great rivers of America cruises the magnificent Mark Twain paddle wheel steamboat. Built to a 5/8 scale, this replica of America's Pioneer Pass rounds a bend near the rafts to Tom Sawyer's Island as the Disneyland Band plays Dixie. It's postmarked August 1st, 1959, with an Anaheim Pray for Peace cancel and a 3-cent purple Liberty postage stamp, Scott number 1035. I assume they visit the park on Friday, July 31st, 1959, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 95 and a low of 64. Park attendance that day was 27,132. It's addressed to Mr. Ed Hatherley of San Leandro, California. It reads, 7/31/59. Hi Ed, boy it's hot down here, between 100 and 110 degrees. We've been down here for 2 days. We leave for 8 days on the beach at La Jolla Saturday morning. See you soon, Judy Hale. The Mineral Hall was half a store and half a walk-through exhibit. This was unique for Frontierland, but not for Disneyland, as other lands had similar shops, like Main Street USA's Upjohn Pharmacy and Wurlitzer's Music Hall, and Tomorrowland's Art Corner, see episode 100 sent from the Art Corner, and the Milk Bar by the American Dairy Association, see episode 60 sent from the Jets. Looking at some of the items that were for sale at the shop included small samples of rocks and minerals for 10 to 25 cents, each on a cardboard back, with a plastic bubble holding the specimen, with the heading Walt Disney's Mineral Land. The shop also sold chalk, coloring books, and a Tinkerbell wand that would glow or react to the blacklight. There is no exact date the shop closed. It was likely at the end of 1962 or early 1963. This vacant storefront made more room for Casa de Frito and additional seating for guests. Looking at the 70th anniversary book, The Happiest Place on Earth, there's some art of Frontierland that includes the Mineral Hall. This illustration by Sam McKim shows what the facade looked like before the addition of the restaurant space with tables and chairs. There is still a nod to the Mineral Hall at what was Casa de Frito's but is now Rancho del Zoccola. While searching for history about the ultraviolet light, I did find a current echo of Mineral Hall in the Sterling Hill Museum, which has the Warren Museum of Fluorescence. This part of the tour includes a wall of 100 fluorescent minerals all glowing under the ultraviolet light. This was named after Thomas Warren, who founded the company Ultraviolet Products in 1932. Going deeper down a blacklight rabbit hole, there was a 1961 lawsuit between Ultraviolet Products and the Blacklight Company who ran the Mineral Hall. This civil case summary was too dense to get through and didn't mention Disneyland. I'll leave the legal stuff to the law-based podcasts like Opening Arguments or Gavel Gavel. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has a view of the Chicago L train coming down the rails and elevated above the street below. It's postmarked August 14th, 2025, with a Whitecliff, Illinois, first post office serving Schwamberg Township cancel and a sassafras leaf postcard forever postage stamp, Scott number 5967. It reads, Saturday, August 16th, 2025. Clocky. Having so much fun with all the ATD folks. Went to stationery stores, walked 9 miles looking at street murals, postage stamp show, and a big group dinner tonight. Thanks again, April. Thank you so much for the postcard, April. I know, a second week having an ATD Chicago-based postcard, but also what an amazing postmark. I assume this postmark was available at the Great American Stamp Show that you attended. I know when Jim and I attended the one in Sacramento, there were some amazing first day cancels, stamps, and cover exhibits. It just reminds you to keep an eye open on what's going on around you for some random fun adventures. I know that next year's Great American Stamp Show is in Boston, and in 2027, it'll be in Albuquerque. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sent from Disneyland or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell, theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.